Om Sthapakaya Chidharmasya Sarvatarmaswarupini Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Te. So as you have seen, today will be the third and last part of the discussion on what? On the three rare acquisitions which Sri Shankaracharya has said are the great gifts of God. So that verse we have already seen what it is. Durlabham trayame vaitat devanugraha hetukam Manushyatvam mumukshatvam Mahapurushasamshraya. So there are three things which are rare indeed and are due to the grace of God. What are those? First is a human birth. Second is a longing for freedom, for liberation. And third is the protecting care of a saint, one who has become free himself. So we have already done two discussions, one on the human birth and second one was the desire for liberation, what it is like. We have gone into quite some detail. Today we will see the third one, Mahapurushasamshraya. So Swami Vivekananda translates this as Mahapurush, we know, a realized soul, a saint, a true teacher. So he says this means a teacher who can show us the light, who has crossed the ocean of delusion. And he says when these three gifts are ours, we may know that our redemption is at hand. We won't have to wait very long to attain the final goal of human life. But these are very rare. And we have already seen that being born as a human itself is a rare and special blessing, because only in human birth can there be spiritual development. In no other body is it possible. After this body has been obtained, still rarer is the desire for spiritual development, the desire to be free. That concept itself is extremely difficult for an ordinary man to have any idea of. But even these two things are not enough. So Swami Vivekananda says, even a disgust for the world and a burning desire for God are not sufficient. Another thing is necessary, and that is coming in direct contact with the saints. By only coming in contact with them, we can mold our lives in accordance with their lives. Otherwise, it is not possible. But one thing needs to be said here: if the desire for liberation is genuine, if it is intense, then we are bound to come in contact with such a person. If the desire is there, the demand is there. As we say in economics, if there is a demand, there has to be a supply. So if there is a genuine search for God, a teacher will come. We don't have to be bothered about that. So today we will discuss this third aspect under the following heads. Now, first about the term, a little explanation. Mahapurushasamshraya. So ashraya means refuge. So when we say Mahapurushasamshraya, this means taking shelter under a saint, taking shelter of a great soul. So first we will see for whom is this type of shelter necessary. Secondly, what should be the qualifications of the teacher under whom we take a shelter. Thirdly, how should that teacher be approached? All these things we'll discuss in a concise form. So Mahapurushasamshraya means being under the protecting care of a saint, taking the shelter of a great soul. That person may not be great in terms of worldly things. He may not be Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or anybody like that. But he'll be great where it really matters in the spiritual world. Sometimes this Mahapurushasamshraya is also translated as being in the company of a great soul, but simply being in the company is not sufficient. Even when Sri Ramakrishna was there in Dakshineshwar, so many people used to come to him. Swami Vivekananda, when he toured the whole of India, then he went to so many countries. Thousands of people were in his company. But that simply being in a company is not be sufficient. Our hearts should be ready to take shelter under that person, surrender ourselves to him. That preparation has to be there. Now, who needs to do this? Not everybody. Who needs the company of a great soul? Who needs to take shelter? Certainly not everybody. Only those who want freedom, spiritual freedom, ultimate freedom. Those who want the things of the world and take delight in all those things which actually create bondage have no need of this, absolutely no need. They will take shelter under different kind of people, under rich people, powerful people, or even their relatives and friends. If we just reflect a little, whenever we seek the company of relatives and friends, what are we doing? We are actually taking shelter under them. How? Taking shelter means, in English, if you want to know the meaning, it means finding a place of protection from danger. That is what is taking shelter. So physical shelter we all know, like seeking cover from a storm or somebody, you just go under a sturdy roof. But in a broader sense, taking shelter can also symbolize seeking refuge, emotionally and mentally. So what are we doing when we marry, when we make friends and all these things? What are we doing? We are actually taking shelter. Under whom? Under human beings. But this kind of shelter has two problems. First, it can only give us a temporary and insignificant feeling of relief. It has to be temporary. You can't always be in the company of anybody all the time. Secondly, it is extremely uncertain. There is no surety. Humans are here today, they are gone tomorrow. And even if someone is here all the time, a human being can change anytime. The mind of a human being is constantly changing. So, all these helps that we get from the world are insignificant. And secondly, they are here today, but they may not be here tomorrow. But when a spiritual seeker is there, he doesn't want something which will go away. He wants something which will satisfy him forever. So when he is taking shelter under a person, a spiritual person, the objection can be there that spiritual person is also a human being. But actually he is not taking shelter under a human being. He is taking shelter under God. There is no personal attachment with such a teacher. For a spiritual aspirant, that teacher is only a symbol of God. He doesn't care where the teacher is born, who the relatives are of the teacher, which caste he belongs, which country he belongs, does not matter. There is nothing worldly about the relationship. Spiritual seeker wants only one thing, God or divine knowledge. And such a teacher is nothing but a conduit. He is just a medium for transmitting that knowledge. Actually, such a teacher has completely dissolved his personality in God. So such a teacher in his human form only manifests the powers of God. And the relationship which a seeker seeks to establish is actually a relationship with God. Because God is the only thing which is permanent in this universe. And the teacher and the God and his knowledge, they are not two different things. So when the teacher is transmitting that knowledge, the seeker just sees the teacher as a medium of transmission of God's power. That is the thing. So this type of shelter is necessary only for those who want the highest good. In Sanskrit, that word is called Kalyan. These things actually cannot be really translated. So we have seen, when we are discussing the Gita, we are still discussing, we have seen the condition of Arjuna. Arjuna, when he saw his own people standing before him, he knew they will all be killed. He was totally shattered. And when he was under a terrible stress, then and then only, we have seen, he took shelter under Shri Krishna, who was God incarnate. And then he asked him, tell me how I can surely achieve the supreme good. So we have seen that. But on the other side, we see at the side of the Kauravas, Duryodhan was their king. Duryodhan had felt no such need. He never went to Krishna or any other saint to take shelter. Why? Because he was satisfied with the world. He did not have any conception of anything beyond. So we are more or less like Duryodhana only. We are currently satisfied with these birthday parties, marriage parties and everything related to the world. Since we are satisfied with our current situation, we do not awaken to the true purpose of human life. That is what saints say. So the realization of the real objective, spiritual freedom, only occurs when we have reached a stage of evolution. A child knows nothing but toys. Only when he evolves does he know, no, these are not everything in the world. So this desire occurs only in time. And till there is time, neither there will be a genuine desire in us, nor even if we get such a person at hand, we will not be able to benefit, because we have not the capacity to accept what he will give. So first thing is this, only when we genuinely seek freedom, we can really desire the guidance of such a saint. And this is possible only in a human birth. So Shankaracharya says in the same book in which he says this verse that three things are very rare, in the same book he says later, a human being who having obtained this human birth is foolish enough not to exert himself for liberation. What does he do? He commits suicide. Why? Because he kills himself by clinging to things unreal. So what does this mean? We are harming ourselves. All the misery which we are suffering from, we have invited. Nobody is harming us. How do we harm ourselves? By holding on to untruth, by embracing an illusion. What does this mean? In Vedanta, it means to perceive what does not exist as real, to consider what belongs to others as one's own, and to see what is truly ours as foreign. So, seeing the opposite in everything. It is to mistake joy for sorrow and sorrow for joy. In this way, we adopt falsehood. And when the unreal is accepted as real, one's true self is forgotten. So, all the scriptures say this world cannot be real because it is in one state now, other state the very next moment. Something which is ultimately real cannot change. So, if the world is not true, then what is the truth? The truth is God, as that is the only thing which is eternal. In the world, there is nothing which is not born, which is not created. And everything which is created is eventually destroyed. Whatever is born must also perish. There can be no exception to this rule. But God is not something that can be crafted like a pot or something. God has not been made that way. A pot is made through some actions. Through actions, things can be created, but they will inevitably decay. A pot may break, then what remains? The clay remains, the substance remains. So consider this, do we create clay or do we shape it into a pot? Clay already exists, while the pot is merely formed. So the pot comes into being. Anything which is coming into being has to crumble one day. The world we have created around us, even the world shaped by our ancestors, cannot endure, as we are seeing. It is said, there's a saying in Hindi, the translation is, what flourishes must fade, what rises must fall. But God is not created, He is ever present. And that's why the purpose of human life can never be getting these things which come today and are gone tomorrow. It can only be to attain something eternal. Call it God, Brahman, Atman, soul, you can call it anything. So now, if a person is convinced that attaining God is the only purpose of human life, now the question is, how can he be attained? Not by taking hold of worldly things. So Upanishads, there is a very famous verse, Swami Vivekananda used to love quoting this. Na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena. Karma is action. God cannot be obtained by any action. Not by progeny. Na dhanena, not by wealth. Then how can liberation be attained? It is only through giving up of what is false. Through renunciation of what is not true. So spiritual aspirants reflects and considers, who are you, to whom you belong, what belongs to you. When we are asked to renounce, what are we asked to give up? We are not asked to give up what actually belongs to us. So what are we asked to give up actually? We are asked only to give up the notion that something in the world actually belongs to us. This is a false notion, and we are guided our whole lives by this false notion that this is mine, this thing is mine, this person is mine, this moment is mine. This false notion has to be given up. So due to a misunderstanding, we have considered things as mine. But a little reflection will tell us in reality, nothing has ever truly belonged to us. Nothing can belong to us. So there is a story in this regard just to make us understand. A gentleman was feeling sorrowful. Why? His friend asked him, I have lost my umbrella. Okay, you can get another one. From where did you get this umbrella? He said, I had just picked it up from a party where everybody was keeping their umbrella. From there, I had picked it up. So, something taken from a party means what? It was never his in the first place. Anything acquired from the world is also like that. It is just an object assumed to be one's own. Yet, when we lose it, we grieve over it. This is our condition. But a wise person is not fooled. So, what does he do? He follows the path which is laid down by saints and sages. He goes to a person who can guide him. Even in worldly matters, as soon as we grow up a little, we are sent to schools, is it not? Schools, colleges, etc. Then for further training. So there has to be training. Even in matters in the world, in any field, a teacher absolutely necessary. Except from some rare geniuses. Even our Hindu philosophy says even they have been trained earlier, in their earlier births. So naturally a person will seek training for the thing he wants. Those who earn money those who want to earn money, make more money, keep company with those who are experts in that field. They learn from them. They seek their company. So one great saint was there whom I am freely quoting in our discussion today. So in one of his lectures he says, I quote him, he said, I remember when we used to come to Bombay, we would stay at a house of a businessman. His name was Singhania. So in the morning, we would go out for a walk on the Marine Drive. So his name was, one of the persons who would accompany them, he says, was a very rich person known as Govindaram Seksaria. He was a wealthy businessman. So when he used to go for a walk, 10 or 20 people would follow him. Why? They wanted to know price of which share will come up, price of which share will go down, rising and falling. So upon his analysis, they would guide their own investments. So they would learn from him. Everyone benefited from his expert opinion. So naturally, for those who want money, the company of a wealthy person like Govindaram Seksaria is necessary. But if we desire liberation, we will have to associate with different kinds of persons. You cannot learn the Gita while lying on the sofa listening to YouTube lectures. Impossible. Why? That is just the worship of our ego. That is not the worship of God. We may think we have known a lot like that. We can't really know. So what does the spiritual aspirant do? Again we go to Shankaracharya. He says, Ato vimuktya prayatetad vidvan sanyasta bhayartha sukhas prihasan santam mahantam samupetya deshikam tenopadishthartha samahitatma. First, sanyasta. He has to give up. What? Bhaya artha. All these external things which are constantly attracting him. Things of the world. Because without at least curbing those instincts to some extent, his mind will never be calm. He is always be running here and there. Looking at this, looking at that, looking at, if nothing else is there, looking at advertisements. So he can never have a moment of calm till he at least gathers his mind to some extent. Then what should he do? He cannot seek for the reality without any guide. So, Santam Mahantam, Deshikam, these three are adjectives of the person whom he should approach. Santam is a saint, Mahantam is a great saint, and Deshikam. So, Deshikam we will see the meaning a little in detail. Then what should he do? That is, simply going is not enough. Tena upadishta artha atma samahita. Tena upadishta means the truths taught by him. He should now completely fix his mind on those truths. This has to be done not for 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 2 years, 3 years, till he reaches the goal. That may be for many lives. So, Santam, Mahantam, Deshikam, these three are mentioned. What is a Deshikam? What is a Deshika? Deshika means a guide. In Sanskrit, Deshika means a guide. One who leads the way. One who points the direction, right direction. One who shows the path. So in the last time when we discussed the Shankara Stotra, at the end there is a line, Bhava Shankara Deshika Me Sharanam. I take refuge in the guide, Shankaracharya. And in Hindi, the word Upadesha, Upadeshaka, these are all same origination, the words. Now, we have seen first who requires this sort of shelter, not everybody, very few in the world. Secondly, what he should do. If he finds a saint, he should go to him for guidance. How should he go? There is a proper way, a demeanor for everything in the world. In any circumstances we are placed, there is a proper way of behavior. In our home we behave like in one way. When we go to a function, we behave in the other way. When we go to a relative, we behave in some other way. So, how should one seek this guidance from the saints? We have already seen in the Gita. When Arjuna sought this wisdom for his well-being, he realized Krishna was driving his chariot, mind you. Like in India especially, this is common. People have a driver, etc. for their vehicles, rich people. But Arjuna, he has realized he is seeking knowledge, and the one from whom he is seeking knowledge is his guru. He is not merely a charioteer now. With this realization, the sense of authority which he had as a warrior, just in the previous verse we have seen, he was telling Sri Krishna, Krishna, take me right in the middle so that I can take those two armies at a glance. So that has gone. Now, instead, in pursuit of true wisdom, Arjuna has surrendered himself. He has become a disciple. And that famous verse of the Gita, he chants, Shishyasteham Shadhi Mam Tvam Prapannam. Each word is significant. He says, I am your disciple. Shadhi Mam, please instruct me. And Tvam Prapanna means I take full shelter under you. So Arjuna was very lucky, he had got God incarnate as his teacher. We certainly cannot be so lucky. We don't deserve that. So we have to know what are the qualifications of such a teacher. You cannot go and seek shelter under anybody. You will be inviting ruin in any field. Financial field, if you get into the clutches of a scammer, he'll finish you off. So what are the everything our scripture says, everything is discussed here. As I've told you everything many times, that even the very small details are discussed. Nothing is left to chance. If you want to know, you can find the answer. So in answer, Shankaracharya says that person should be Shrotriya, Avrijina, Akamahata, and Brahmavittama. So what do these words mean? Swami Vivekananda says, he has translated this. Shrotriya, he is versed in the scriptures. Avrijina, he is without taint. There are not any legal cases pending under him. There is nothing in the files in his name. Akama hata. Kama is desire. Hata is a very significant word. Hata means killed. So he is not hurt by any desire. Desire kills. So he is one who is completely free from any blemish. He is not out to get your money or anything else. He has no desire of that sort. And Brahmavittama means he is the best among the knowers of Brahman. So these are the qualifications. A learned person, a person who knows the scriptures is necessary, because then what he teaches will be valid. As it is, a person, spiritual person, what he teaches is of course the infallible words, but still he can tell us the essence of our scriptures, essence of the scriptures. So Shrotriya, this word comes from the word Shruti, and Shruti means Shruti means Vedas. My God, after so many. So this is a reference to the Vedic scriptures. He not only has read the scriptures, but he knows the essence of the scriptures. Essence is what matters. Sri Ramakrishna had not read much, maybe nothing at all, but he knew the essence. So Shrotriya, Avrijina, he should be without a touch of taint. And most important, and which is very rare, he should be Akamahata, unhurt by any desire. Swamiji says he should have no other motive except of doing good. Anybody who has not attained freedom, who has not actually had a vision of God, cannot be Akamahata to the maximum extent. It is impossible. Some desire will be there. So a person who has nothing else to attain, he has attained everything, only he can be free from desires completely. So this person, but of course, even a lower person we can approach, we don't get these persons every day. So the only thing is, we have to see teacher should not have any selfish motive. He is imparting religious teaching only with one motive: to help. Not to gain name and fame or power or spread his name throughout the country, nothing. If that kind of desire is there, he cannot be a teacher at all. I mean, what to say of the highest knowledge. So if suppose one finds such a teacher by the special grace of God and is even able to recognize him, first of all, it is difficult to recognize him also, because they don't go around with a label, I am so and so. Suppose we come across such a teacher and by God's grace we are also able to recognize his greatness, then how should we approach him? As I said, all the details are given. So again, we go to Shankaracharya for the answer. He says a disciple should have this feeling inside him. He should approach him in this way. What is that verse? Durvara sansara davagni taptam dodhuya manam duradrishtavatai bhitam prapannam paripahi mrityo sharanyam anyat aham na jane. So what is the state of that person first? He says, Sansar Davagni Taptam. How he is looking at sansara, how he is looking at the world. He is telling the teacher, Teacher, I have come to you. Save me. Why? Afflicted as I am by the unquenchable fire of this forest which is called the world. So he feels it like this. We think it is a place of great enjoyment, but he doesn't see it that way. He sees it just as a fire, and he is about to be devoured by this fire of the world. And he wants a refuge. So he goes to him and says, Sharanyam Anyat Aham na jane. I don't see anybody else who can save me from this fire except men of God. Worldly people certainly cannot save me. And the very famous verse of Mundaka Upanishad, it's quoted again and again. What a spiritual aspirant has to do, it is stated there also. Tat Vijnanartham sa gurum eva abhigachet samit pani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. Again the word shrotriya has come here, the same shrotriya. So Vijnana, Jnana is knowing. Vijnanartha means for knowing the reality. That person, an aspirant who has got vairagya, one who has become disgusted with the world and what it has to offer, he should go to whom? To this teacher. Gurum eva. Abhigachet means he should go. How should he go? Samit pani. Samit pani means he should go with some faggots in his hand, with pieces of wood. What is the significance? We will see. So we will take each word. Vijnanartham. Vijnana means science. Here it means the science of the Atman, the science of God, knowing God. Science is of two kinds. One is pertaining to external subjects, objects. Other pertains to the internal world, to the Atman. So science that is machine generated, we know it is related to external objects. Psychology also falls under external science. Psychology is analyzing the mind. The mind is also external minding. But here what type of Vijnana, what type of science is meant? The science of Akrita. Akrita means one that is not created. The science of knowing that which has not been created through any action, but it is self-evident. It must be known as it is. That is only God. Therefore, to gain this knowledge, divine knowledge, he should approach a teacher. Only one who has that knowledge can impart it. That is in every field. Abhigachet. Abhigachet means to approach. He should approach to attain true knowledge. So, there is a prescribed method for approaching. It is not that, sir, please come to our house, come to my house, give a tuition, Vedanta tuition. It is not that. You hire other teachers, you cannot hire this teacher. He doesn't want your money. And true Vedanta cannot be learned just by memorizing some words. Teacher will tell you and you will just memorize that. That is not the way. So, the next word is Abhigachet. Abhigachet means, actually it comes from Abhigamana. This signifies the seeking, the association of great souls. Abhigachet, if you want to translate, actually implies going with great humility. In India, we go like this, with folded hands. And even for showing respect, rules are laid down. If someone is walking, one should not make salutations in that condition. And one should always approach from the front, directly, with sincerity. All these rules are there. So, abhigacche to whom? To Guru, to a teacher. Why? Because no matter how much knowledge, prestige, or intellect we may possess, this particular wisdom can only be learned from a qualified teacher. Whatever external things we may have, external qualifications, big degrees, wealth, etc., those actually merely increase our ignorance if we are proud of them. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, pass means pash. Pass means you have many degrees, I have passed this, I have become this, I have become this. So he used to say those are all pash. Pash means bondages. Because you become more and more proud. You become more and more egotistic. So egotism is said to be a sort of intoxication. But in this, all those degrees will not help. The simple example is given. One may have 100 degrees. Suppose one is intoxicated. He has taken some, whatever is now freely available in all those shops. If he is intoxicated, can he remove his intoxication himself? He may be the most brilliant person in the universe. That very intoxication will cloud his mind. So actually, he'll have no idea of his own condition. He's not even aware that there is something wrong with him. He thinks he's quite all right. So here this example is given. However much intelligent we may be, but this intoxication of the world, this thinking we are knowledgeable even while we are in the midst of ignorance, this cannot be realized by us. Our very ignorance prevents us from recognizing that we are ignorant. That happens in the world all around us. If we just keep our eyes open, we can see. That is why absolutely necessary the guidance of the teacher, the guidance of the scriptures. The next thing, what it is said, Samit Pani. So that is firewood. You take firewood means what? Earlier times, those people would be rishis, and they were always in the Vedic period, they would be performing sacrifices. So carrying wood means what? Serving him, giving him something which he needs. So here the primary objective is go in a spirit of service. Why? If you say that, oh, that person you said does not need anything, does he need service? He doesn't need. He doesn't care. But without serving, our minds will not be prepared. Without that attitude, we will not be ready to take that knowledge. It is impossible. It is not like ordinary things. That is why in India so much tradition is there. Even when we used to learn classical music, we used to go and touch their feet. And amongst, when there is any, especially Saraswati Puja, that is the goddess of wisdom. So all the instruments are supposed to be taken out, and we used to worship those instruments. Because all those are giving us knowledge. So anyway, so the deeper meaning of this act, carrying wood, is actually to carry something of service and utility for the teacher. This is the way in which a true saint is to be approached. Not like, hi Swami, bye Swami, hello Swami. So we have seen these qualities, Shrotriya, Akamahata, Avrijina, and a genuinely spiritual person. That is the meaning here. So that is the thing. There is one incident regarding in this regard. So there was a very famous saint of India. His name was Udiya Baba. He was a genuinely very high spiritual person. So one person went and asked him, "Sir, why is it necessary to have a teacher? Why can't we have spiritual knowledge ourselves?" So he did not go into, he used to answer in just one or two sentences. He just said, "Why do you even need to ask this question? If you are firmly convinced a teacher is not required, why are you asking this question? The very fact that you are asking this question means somewhere in your mind is the idea. Is it not? So naturally, a person who knows everything does not require a teacher. But not having a teacher means not having a guide, not having any helper. If you need to travel on earth, you need a road map. In worldly affairs, movement is only possible with either, now of course, now Google is there. But in the path of spiritual realization, a map is not sufficient. Why? Google will not help. It is not an external journey. We have not lost anything that we have to go in search for God in Alaska or in Europe or any other place. It is not in another place. It is not in another time. It is not in another form. It is our true nature. And we have forgotten this reality. Therefore, we need someone to show us the way. Because of the delusion we are under, we have never attained that ultimate truth since the beginning of time. Our scriptures say there are 80 lakhs, 100,000 births before we get a human birth. If we had attained this truth, we would not have ended up here in this worldly existence. So there is no doubt one must take shelter under a saint, and this is what is called Mahapurushasamshraya. So when seeking refuge, we have to keep these two things in mind. What? Nothing else should remain as an alternative. I want God. If I don't get God, I can get the new iPhone. That will be a suitable replacement. I can get this many amount of dollars. I can get this kind of post in the government. There should be no alternative in the mind. Everything should seem absolutely garbage to say. This is the first thing. Second thing is, one should have no reliance on anything worldly, on any other person. So these things, actually, these are very difficult to explain. These are extremely rare things. So if a person seeking refuge does not possess these two qualities, he has not truly surrendered. So the thoughts, resolutions, possessions and actions, all, such a person's thoughts, second, resolutions, possessions and actions should all be for the one in whom they take refuge. He should be completely, you can say, dissolved in that idea. So seeking refuge does not simply going in folded hands and declaring, I have given up everything, I have renounced everything, just words. So these saints can tell when we are just doing lip service. We have the capacity to see in our heart. Another thing is, the biggest danger, if one surrenders before an unqualified person posing as a teacher, one is doomed. It will be in ruin. And naturally, these type, in every field, There are scams in every field nowadays, we know. And these types of teachers abound. They are much more in number than genuine teachers. So it is much better actually if one practices intensely for some time, for some years, before taking this step. People who are in a hurry, it is not for them. So there was I think I have told this incident earlier also. Swami Vimohananda was there, Sri Ramakrishna's disciples. He was an exceptionally great person. So he was practicing austerity somewhere in North India. So seeing him, there was some sort of power of attraction, some power they have. Those who are a little ready to receive those things, they can somehow. So a person went to him for initiation, spiritual initiation, accepting him as his guru. So he said, "No, I am not your guru." He pointed to another person who was there. He was a most ordinary fellow, that person. So a person was witnessing all this. So after that person had gone, he asked Swami Vimohananda, "Why have you not initiated yourself? You are such a great person and you have sent him to that ordinary person. He had approached you, you could have initiated him." So Turiyananji said, "See, that person was in a hurry to get a guru. And that person to whom I have sent him to, he was very anxious to get disciples. So I have done nothing wrong. There was a supply and there was a demand." So anyway, the thing is, earnest disciples are extremely rare, and so are real teachers. So if someone complains that he has not got a teacher, he is trying, but not finding one, we should know we don't really want. If we want something really, genuinely, and if we are making attempts on our own, if the heart is really ready, that kind of teacher has to come. There can be absolutely no doubt about that. So main thing is the second qualification. Earnestly desiring God. That concept itself is extremely difficult. So to end, I will just quote some lines from one of our very famous scriptures, that is the Yoga Vashishta Ramayana. So here, of course, till you read a little, we can have no idea. So here first, when it is said that when Sri Rama comes to his father's, when he grows up a little, so it is first seen that Sri Rama is not taking part in anything, not fun, not games, anything worldly. So his father Dasharatha becomes a little concerned. He calls his guru, "See, what is wrong with my son? If somebody behaves like that, something is wrong with him, no?" So Vasishta comes, and then since the teacher has come, Sri Ramachandra bares his heart to him. What is he feeling? And here, of course, Sri Ramachandra is also portrayed as a best kind of spiritual aspirant there can be. So his words of renunciation are absolutely, the farthest we can think of, so to say. So I will just quote those lines so that we can have an idea of what this kind of aspirant feels. So when Vasishta goes to Sri Rama and asks, "What is the matter? You are sitting alone, you are not taking interest in any worldly affairs." He gives a long answer. I'll just quote a few lines. So Sri Rama, seeing his teacher before him, he tells him that what I am feeling right now, O teacher, is this. I am praying to God. "O God, when will that moment arrive when my mind, pure and free from anger, devoid of desires and frivolities, cleansed of all the bad thoughts, and sanctified, finds rest in the state of self realization. When, with unwavering repose in the bliss of liberation, filled with all the virtues, will I wander in this world? When will my transient mind renounce its trivial nature and merge into the soul, merge into the Atman, to attain peace like a wave merging in the ocean? When will I, free from suffering, cross the ocean like world, adorned with the waves of desire and the garland of hope symbolized crocodile? This is very significant. The crocodiles in the ocean are hopes. We are always hoping for some fine day when everything will be okay. When will I reside, purified by virtues like self-restraint and control, in the positions accessible to pure seekers of liberation? When will I achieve an equal vision of all and live without grief? Oh, when will the great fever of this world dissipate? O my mind, when will you be calm and free from pain, luminous like a flame in a windless region? Like the great bird Garuda crossing the ocean, when will all these wicked sense organs, which destroy the body due to their longing for worldly objects, disdain this world and rise beyond sorrow? All the worldly pleasures I once experienced now seem as trivial as straw. At this time, I pray solely for the attainment of the essence of my true self. O my mind, when will the pure vision of knowledge imparted by the teacher you will find established within you? O heart, I shall no longer desire worldly connections, like cries of son, daughter, friend, foe, even if my body becomes food for snakes. O my contemplating and wise intellect, I bow down at your feet and beg that this prayer leads noble souls to attain liberation from this world and reach the ultimate state of freedom, which is called, as you know, in Sanskrit, mukti or moksha. So only one who desires this freedom, one who truly seeks God, has this need of approaching this kind of teacher. The teacher should be adorned with the qualifications we have already mentioned, that is the guideline, and he should be approached in a suitable way, and our mind should be prepared to receive that knowledge. Then only we will get the results of having all these three: a human birth, a desire for liberation, and the coming under the shelter of a great soul. And once when these three are all granted by us, by the grace of God, then only we can know we don't have to wait too long. The sun is about to rise. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri